thank you for everybody thanks to everybody that came. I really appreciate it. Most of you are all introductory students. I think there's two or three that are early for the second session because of the time zone thing, forgetting that I'm not next door to you in an eastern state. I'm in the central state, so I'm on Central Daylight Time. And most of the Rasmussen times listed are Central Daylight Time. Anyway, let's get started with the legal system, and I hope it'll be fun. This is kind of an outdated photo. My hair has grown a little bit since then, especially since January. We went down to a long trip down to Illinois and then Texas. I didn't get a haircut before I left in January, and I sort of forgot getting one in Texas. So then I got back to Minnesota, and there's no haircuts available. So I actually have reason. My hair has grown quite a bit. I was an attorney starting in 1979, college instructor since 2005. Not in the active practice of law now, but I consult with other attorneys from time to time for free. I don't charge them anything. Frankly, I think those attorneys know the answers. They just, on certain topics, they want to know my point of view, or if I can think of something that's not on their checklist. And like I say, the lawyers that call me, they're getting to have as big or a bigger checklist than I do. So I don't know that I'm helping them much, but sort of a safety net to know that they've really thought of every possibility in their case. So that's kind of fun. So I do keep up on the law office world. And I am allowed to do that I don't talk to anybody's clients. I only talk to the lawyers, and the lawyers can consult somebody if they want to about the law. So I do not know the details of their cases, but I can answer a question about the law and give them, basically I don't even answer questions. Basically I just give them ideas and references, like something to research or something for their checklist. You know what I mean by a checklist? It's just a list of things to do, really. And the longer a person's in practice, the bigger their checklist gets, basically. And of course, you've seen enough possibilities. The problem with being an older attorney, though, in some ways is sometimes I don't have a snappy answer because I've dealt with too many exceptional situations where there is a little exception. Don't be like me when you take a multiple choice test. Because when you take a multiple choice test, there really is only one best answer. And you shouldn't be using your imagination and thinking outside the box when you take a multiple choice test. When you do a written assignment, though, those things are welcome. Student lounge, say hi in the student lounge. I realize you've done so here, but those listening by recording especially, say hi to the classmates that you didn't meet live. Logistics, I guess I better type this into the chat, because if you can't hear me, you can't hear me. I'll type, is anyone having trouble? And maybe I'll type it on this too here. So that way, answer in chat. Okay. Yeah, but sometimes you have localized troubles that I can't control, of course. It does pay to close things down. I got this from my dean, one of my new deans. Okay. This is kind of new to me. We're using Blue Book for everything. We used to use Blue Book citations for law, and we used APA for text, but now we use Blue Book for everything. And what I wanted you to do, instead of starting out with Blue Book entirely, what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a giveaway. You get Blue Book sites from me. And later have to do your own. The reason is because I want you to get excited about paralegal studies. I do want you to learn to do the detail work, but I'm giving away some of the detail work to make the hard and fast first week easier. So the first week should be an easier because you just don't have many days. But don't get complacent. Do have to learn Blue Book, okay? Any questions about what I mean by Blue Book? Because if I'm jumping ahead or something, it's the citation system. So when I answer a question, and it's the same for faculty, it's the same for lawyers, it's the same for high-level paralegals, is first you have something you found from a source and you type it out. And then I call that is, I have a simple name for it. What did you find? The judge asked me, Mr. Olson, what did you find? Then what's the judge's second question? It's called Blue Book because it's a citation system that was originally in a Blue Book for lawyers. So Blue Book doesn't fully answer what did you find, but what it answers is where did you find it? Okay. So every time you do a paper, you want to type paragraphs that explain these things. So you have a paragraph that says what you found and where you found it. And of course, here's where you found it. I do like you to give page numbers because I love that, and I'll explain it as we go. Then what's the third thing after what did you find and where did you find it is what do you think? Now, judges may not have exactly asked me what I think. They may say, well, what's your analysis? What's your claim? What's your argument? But in class, I say, what do you think? So what did you find? Where did you find it? What do you think? If your paper does not answer those three questions really super clearly and divide them out very clearly, then you haven't earned a high grade yet. Go back and show what you found, where did you find it, what do you think? Sometimes where you found it gets too scary. I don't want it to be. That's why I gave you stuff like this in the template. So the template already does that, but instead of telling you what to say or whatever, we have like 3 dots. So when you get to the template, you're going to say, well, there's a lot of blanks in here. The sample student really didn't do much other than just do some citations and some partial, not very good explanations. And I understand that, but it's purposely not done super well because it's up to you to use the template, explain a bit about what you found, use the site I've already given you, and then explain better than the sample student did what you think about it, okay? So you're not starting from scratch. Frequently in a law office, when you get started, you do not start from scratch. They should, they don't always, but they should give you a handbook and a set of forms. If you use the handbook and use the forms, you're not totally stuck. You have some things you can do, even as a beginner. And similarly, in my model law office, in the 2 introductory sections, you're not starting from scratch, you're starting from a template. But you need to totally personalize it, okay? You really personalize it when you say what you think. I don't want you to think what I think, I want you to think what you think. If what you think is that you're puzzled by something, something is not clicking with you, type that. Yeah, there's an example or question in there. Go ahead and do an everyone question, okay? But there are statutes and laws in Blue Book, but there are also examples of how to do articles and books. And that is kind of new, fairly new to me. We used to use, like I say, we used to use Blue Book only for actual laws, but now we use it for everything. Objectives: analyze the differences and similarities of these terms. Use readings and written assignment. Regulations, readings, what is included, you know, do those objectives. Advantages and disadvantages of social media. We're trying to hit all of the high spots. Chapters 1 and 2. One of the things that people do wrong is they do all the reading first. I want you to tackle the discussion even before you're done with the reading. Early. Get the points. And also look at and analyze the template. And then, of course, the lesson content. Then read chapters 1 and 2 with questions. What do I mean by read with questions? You have your own questions. Write down a couple of questions before you read. No, you should have, if you're in the correct class, then you have the template by course message. I put it in the announcement of the Intro to Law and the Legal System, and I also put it into course message. So everybody should have it. Please do your chats to everyone, because otherwise it's hard to, people are seeing me answer questions that nobody's asked otherwise, you know, because they can't see your questions if you send it only to me. Modules 1, 3, and 5 have a graded live lecture quiz. We actually don't call it live lecture anymore, live classroom, same thing. Okay. But I do live classes for all 6 modules, not just 3. The problem with thinking, well, you don't get any points for attending 2 and 4. True, you don't get any points, but you learn how to get more points, and you learn the purpose of the points, as opposed to just thinking that it's just sort of a hoop to jump through. This is the quiz. This is where you get your points for live classroom, whether you're watching by recording or live. You go here, and then you need to type in the magic words, or whatever you want to call them, special words. So here's the special words this week. So right now you write down those 2 words, and then later on go here, and that's the quiz answer. Questions about that? Questions, problems? Okay. Yeah, it's interesting how many have trouble with this, but I think that when you create online courses, what looks routine and easy for us that are doing it all the time, you know, is not for everybody else. Quiz under assignments. Actually, we're not doing word and phone number this time. We're doing live lecture words. No, it's not that fussy. It's just the attendance words, okay? Sometimes it'll be a little more substantive. The assignments are right on the assignment page. I'll just share, okay? We'll see if we can do screen sharing. Let's take a look here. Can you see the screen now, my screen? Okay. So I'm going to Module 1. And I go to lesson content because sometimes students skip this, and I'm not sure why, because the same person who did the course assignments did this, and everything here is supposed to help you. So you can use these items to answer the written assignment, but I also gave you a template. Same thing with this. And there's a transcript of it. And let's see, did I even scroll to the bottom? Yeah, I scrolled to the bottom, okay. And key terms keep, you know, and let me see here. Then I'm going back up here to Module 1, the paralegal profession, and now I'm going to go to assignments. And I would make sure that I posted at least 2 times here. A reply is a post. So if you've done 1 post and 1 reply, then you need to go back and say, well, did I put a source in there? And if you didn't do a source, then add one. Do a post with a source, or do a supplemental post saying, I forgot to do a source. No, I'm doing a source. And then this will be a written assignment. And I said, don't even think about completing this without first going over the live class live or by recording. Why? Because I don't want you to just type the answers. Every time you do an answer, I want you to have a source. Okay? And if you go to this guides, it will help you do it. But I also gave you a template to make it easier yet. So use the guides, use the template. So every time you answer a question, use a source, cite a source, right in the body, not at the bottom. If you do it at the bottom, I don't know where it's you talking and where your source is talking. Same thing here, same thing here, same thing here. Use a source, but they invite personal comments. Once you've shown what you found, then you show where you found it, right in the body, and then you show what you think. If you cannot find answers to these, get some help from me or from tutors. In my situation with my class, if you just show your steps on what you tried, you're going to get the points. I looked here, here, and here for the regulations, didn't find any. If there aren't any regulations, just showing me your steps is good enough. Okay? Newspapers may have nothing, so you may have to just do a web search for jobs. Same thing with skills and so on. You may have to use the text as opposed to, or call me by phone if you get stuck on this. If you get stuck, call. And then here's your live classroom. You click on it, and then begin, and then it prompts you to enter the words, and then save. Okay, let me look at the home page. One of the things we've got on the home page is the template. It's right here. A bunch of you have already looked at the video. If you look at the template, which I also sent by course message, you're going to say, well, Kirk, you've already done half the paper for us. But I did it casual to prompt you to talk like you instead of talking like a text. So this is not wonderful English. It's not anything supposed to be wonderful. It's supposed to be a sample student who's struggling to get it done. And the ... dots obviously require you to put your own content in. Do you have to put your own content here? No. Go ahead and use pages 4 and 6 of the text. And then this should be you talking. Most of it. Yeah, okay, here's from the text, whatever, pages 8 and 9. So I gave you some ideas. So I'm trying to get you to talk personally in here. Where there's dots, it's obviously totally your own content. Do you have to use this stuff? No, you don't have to use it. You do have to use the citations because I want you to get used to this pattern. Okay. Okay, we are going to share that. Okay, share content. Okay, here we go. So here is the template. And here's the sample student talking and finding something in the text. You might say something different here. You might find something different on pages 4 to 6, but I do want you to use this cite, so leave that in there. Okay? Notice that this cite is not at the end, it's in the body. So I can tell that this part was a paraphrase from this source. Then I can tell that this is a paraphrase from page 8 because there's another cite down here. This doesn't have a cite, so this has to be personal talk of the student. My sample is very informal, not very complete, but earns points because it's the student talking. This is a sample student though. You shouldn't say exactly the same thing. You should do your own stuff. What do you think? What puzzles you? What interests you? And then the student tried to describe what the student did to find more information. And like I say, it's supposed to be personalized, not textbook type. Then the ABA says this, so here's the what did I find, and here's the where I found it. Okay, excuse me, the where I found it is this. And it's got the last visited date, which you don't always have to use. Note that both quotes and paraphrases need to be cited. Then this sample student also found something from the National Federation of Paralegal Associations. So the student started to answer the questions basically using these sources. You don't need a reference page if you've got them up here. The reference page is just here for your usefulness, you might say, okay? And so it isn't that you're just going to put your name on this. You're going to so personalize it that it becomes your paper, okay? And you're going to get used to the idea that you're citing inside of your paper. Questions, comments? I don't understand, Kathleen, I don't understand your last question. What did you find in the text? Type it. This is for the written assignment. Where did you find it? Which is the cite or the citation of the text, name, author, year, and the web address, URL. And then what do you think? You just keep repeating those things over and over, and you're going to get good scores for good reasons, because those are basic questions that people keep asking for higher level paralegals. They want to know what you found, which is the obvious thing. Everybody knows they're supposed to report what they found, but everybody doesn't know that lawyers and teachers care exactly where you found it. And yes, I care exactly where you found it. It's part of being able to check and look and look. So if normally it would be law when you're in the law office, but if you find an article about a business that's going against our client or something like that, you found an article or a book or something, you'd still want to tell the lawyer where you found it, where they can get to it, who's the author, and so on. And then, of course, hopefully the lawyer would want to know what you think. What's your personal comments? Okay? So read all of the lecture notes each week. Think about your own skill sets. Some people who want to be in family law due to personal experiences or friends' experiences find out they're better off thinking about some of these things. So think seriously about the variety of ways you can be involved in the legal world, please. Evaluate skills. You will have the opportunity as you progress through the course to talk about the skills you expect to gain through your collegiate training. So think about your own personalized skills. Learning methods. Make sure you generate your own original questions early in each study session. If you're looking for something or listening for something in a study session, you will pick up a lot more. You will pick up things that you didn't know you wanted. But if you have no questions, it's hard to stay focused. So I would look at things that you want to do. Skim readings, create questions. This is the graded discussion post to starter post. Comment or question, do at least one starter and at least one reply all weeks. Here's the detailed written assignment. And yes, it is detailed, but it's not supposed to be hard. And it's supposed to give you a chance to access text and other content and then express personal ideas. The more you personalize what you do in the course, the better off you are and the more likely you are to retain the information you read. If you don't personalize and you just think of it as memorizing somebody else's stuff, frankly, it doesn't work. That's not adult education. Adult education, you are trying to form your own preliminary ideas about things and then test them. And here's the criteria for Module 1 written assignment. So you go differences and similarities in paralegal, using and citing the guide and text and showing your own thinking. We don't need a reference page anymore. I can cross that out. I've already given you a reference page, but you don't really need one. You want to put the citations in text, which means in the body. In or at the end of each paragraph, okay? Yes, but I've given you clues on all of them, Maria. Actually, I suppose I didn't give you so many clues on the state regulations and that, but just do your best. And if you can't answer the question, show what you can't answer, show your process. Tell about what you tried, what sources you tried. And then the other answer, of course, is get tutoring or call me and I will help. Because it's not supposed to be a hard start, it's supposed to be a soft start. Does that make sense? See where I'm coming from? I'm not trying to get you to do a tremendous amount of work in a short week. What I'm trying to do is get you started thinking about paralegal studies. Sources, personalize, those things. Here's one thing that causes problems that's self-defeating, and I've seen this over and over in college education. And part of this, I used to kind of think that maybe earlier educators were at fault, but you know, I talk to people who educated different levels. You know, I play golf with some high school teachers here and there, and they claim that they're doing it right. So I can't blame anybody, but don't do this. Don't start with 35 points or 25 points, and then you say, oh, I didn't do any errors, so I get the 35 points because I started perfect, and I don't think I did anything terrible. We don't do this self-defeating things. This just is a way to make yourself scared. You feel like you're afraid to express your opinion then. Nina, just cite it exactly the way I did it. I will be working with folks to make sure that I give you exactly the way you're going to cite books for all of your courses. But for now, use the template exactly the way I did it. Only, of course, if you find different page numbers that you want to use, don't have pages 46 and page 8, whatever. Use different pages if you want. Yes. but most states are not going to have much for regulation, so you're probably just going to be able to say, I looked and I couldn't find it, but here's where I looked. Brittany. But I don't want you to self-defeat. Then that forces, then you're forcing yourself into being unoriginal and not being you. I want you to be you. So don't call and tell me you usually get high scores and feel like you must have done something terribly wrong that you lost points. You're thinking you lost points. No, all original work earns some points. Points are not lost as you add your own work. You gain points. So what do you start with? You start with 0 and you keep going up. Typing out or copying what you found does not work and does not create a lasting or memorable benefit. Doing your own drafting attempts. I'd rather see your terrible first draft that you hate, but is from you, than some perfect thing from a legal blog. And I think you're starting, I think those of you that are here live with me totally get it, right? I mean, I don't give a rip what some lawyer or paralegal blog says about the paralegal world. I care about what you think. Even if I think you're wrong at this point, if I see the process of you exploring it on your own as an adult, I love it. Because I know you're going to get it. You're going to get lots of stuff, and it's going to stick to you because you're exploring it. And when I say on your own, I don't mean totally on your own. I mean you do a bunch of it on your own. You call me or you contact tutoring, and you refine it and you test it. But of course, the bulk of it is you. So search attempt. You draft what you can. Here's what's missing. Some paralegals are afraid to tell their boss. They think the same way at work. Oh, I want to be scared. I don't want to tell them anything because I couldn't find what I was supposed to and I couldn't get it done. No, you need to just be upfront and say, here are the 5 things I could do. Here's the 6th and 7th thing I could not do, and here's why. I want you to be assertive, not scared. Not aggressive and, undiplomatic, but assertive and say, here's 5 things I could do on time. Here's the 6th and 7th that I could not do on time, but here's what I tried. And here's where I got stuck. If you can do that, you can survive the legal world too. Here's what's missing, and here's where I look. Here's the positive self-reinforcing way. We have somebody who retired from the Army with us. One of the things I loved visiting my son's basic graduation and other, when he went to other Army stuff, I love that, is that everybody had to get through all of the steps, like in the obstacle course and such. Everybody has to get these basics done. Every time you get something done, you completed it. You accomplished it. You have to meet certain things. But every time you meet an objective, you don't beat up on yourself because you didn't meet all the objectives in one day. You say, I got here, I got here, I didn't get here yet. Okay, now I did. And you look at it, you went from 0, you started out not able to do anything, or not having done anything, and you say, I achieved this. It's like winning a game that has steps. Persistence, attack each aspect, set aside, proofread once more. If you are a total detail worker, though, and you tend to not quit ever on something, some of you need to push yourself to do more. Others need to set a time limit. Give yourself a time limit and turn it in. In the law office, oftentimes your time limit has to be faster than the lawyer's because the lawyer wants it from you at least a day ahead, or at least an hour ahead of when they have to turn it in. Do you see where I'm coming from? So you are the time cop. You bring it to them on Thursday and you say, hey, boss, the court hearing is on Monday, and you told me to get it ready for you by Friday. Hey, it's Thursday, and I know you've got a busy Friday. Let's go over it now. And lawyers, some bosses would hate that, but lawyers love that. So you are being proactive, and the lawyer is not going to be flat-footed and worrying on Monday morning thinking we're not ready. The lawyer knows that you gave your part to the lawyer a day ahead of your deadline, okay? Graded module discussions. Which do you think is correct? They're an extra credit item, no requirements, require a source, or earn up to 10 points, or B and C? What do you think? Source and earn up to 10 points. Both of these are true. You know, you rack up a bunch of points, and it's pretty easy, but you have to set it on your checklist for the week that you have to do 2 and you have to use a source. You use 2, do a source, use 2, do a source. And when you do it, voila, you get 10 points, and that's a big deal. What is self-reinforcing? Starting at 100% and worrying about losing a point, starting at 50% and gaining or losing, or C. And I realize I'm being pushy, but in the past, a lot of problems were solved before they happened because people realized I'm starting at 0. Yes, Eric, I do want citations right in the post. Same kind of system. Hey class, I found this. Here's where I found it so you can look it up. Here's what I think. And sometimes what you think might just be a question. The text says this about paralegal studies, and here's where it says it, page 8 or something. And then you say, I just don't get it. What is this? What a weird definition. And you might think that's too informal of a comment, but if it's the student's actual comment, the student is racking up points. But that's partly my education method. I realize not all teachers would love the informal, but I like the informal if it's not rude to other students, or to me, I like the informal. I also don't mind. I like first person. First person comments. I think this, I think that. Your high school English teacher hated that. I understand that. It doesn't work for creative writing, but sometimes we simplify things down. Persistence interpretation. Okay, you definitely get this. And this, I know this annoys people. Sometimes people work in a law office and the lawyer will hand something to you or send you a message and say, would you handle this for me? What? What do you mean? Handle this. Well, that's where being persistent in interpretation helps. But one of the things you want to do is you want to learn to be assertive, even though most paralegals don't have an naturally assertive personality. You can be assertive in writing and say, are you suggesting that we let everybody know that we need an extension on this court hearing, that we need a new hearing scheduled? Or do you want me to just write to the other lawyer and the judge for now? I've got 2 letters drafted, one that goes to everybody and one that goes just to the lawyer and the judge. So which do you want? So a lawyer gives you a vague idea, and you have to interpret it. And as a beginner, the lawyer's maybe going to tell you exactly what to do. But to get to that higher level, do more. So rubric, if you click on that, it'll remind you of what the scoring system is. Rubric means scoring system for the assignment. If you worry about the scoring system, though, remember who to call. Who are you going to call? You're going to call me. I don't want you to worry at all. I want you to start from zero and enjoy the academic game of what did you find? Where'd you find it? What do you think? Especially the what do you think, of course, but the other parts you need to have. Use of sources. You want to clearly show comprehension by using the student's own words. Or you can show that you don't comprehend it. If it's obscure, say that. The text says this, but it's obscure. It didn't make sense to me. Go ahead. I would much rather have a law office employee that's willing to admit that they don't know rather than one that sort of tries to fake it through. We never fake it through in the law office any more than in court. I've seen lawyers try that. Nope. And one lawyer showed up and in court, and it was a little bit funny. We were kind of smiling, and the lawyer was like it was kind of impressive. The lawyer was way over prepared for the type of case it was. The lawyer had not read the correct rules. The rules are complicated in my state, in Minnesota, but the lawyer was well prepared in a certain way, but it over prepared paperwork. And we were kind of smiling, but the lawyer needed to just say, I guess I don't know these rules, and then the judge and the other lawyers would fill him in. We were not trying to be mean, okay? The template is provided. Yeah, you get it. In the past, some students deleted it and started over. I don't understand that. Why would they want to do? They deleted every single citation. Why would a person, when I'm trying to give them a boost, why would they take it away? I don't know. And of course, this doesn't make sense. We never do that. A rubric is a scoring system barrier to learning or law. Okay. You guys are doing really good. It's kind of a fictional law office with realism, but we have much more leeway for beginners. There's no, instead of hurrying and worrying, you have me, you have the tutors. If you have technical trouble, your browser doesn't seem to work with the assignments or whatever. We have levels of help for you. So this is not worry and hurry. This is just do it on time, turn in what you have. On-the-job training is great but limited. So if you're very stuck, do a personal, explain your concern and your sticking point, and then what? Turn it in. Your kids get sick this weekend and you cannot get it done, turn in what you have. I do that because I'm much easier on people who turn what they have, because my experience in the law office is that's what I wanted my employees to do. Sometimes it was even my fault they couldn't get it done. I had to interrupt what they were doing, and then they couldn't get the original assignment done. But they gave me what they could because they knew there was deadlines. Okay? Yep. Rasmussen College syllabus, keep an eye on that and see definitions. This is just an example, but this looks like a good paper, a good partial paper, but actually it's bad because there's no original student stuff in here. And I don't have time to go over it, but this one is way too informal, but much better. if it's all from the Kirk Olson legal blog, we wouldn't want it. Okay, I am going to go to Blue Book. I'm going to go to the guides, okay? So we go to guides, and here's the paralegal guide, and here's the intro to law part. And it specifically will talk about the introduction to law and the legal system. And it gives you different helps here. And then when you want to go into more depth in Blue Book, to know what Blue Book is, you can go here. You don't need to know a lot of Blue Book to get through Module 1, though, because I gave you that template that already has Blue Book stuff in it. But you can go here, and this will help. I'm going to have to stop now. I appreciate you guys visiting with me. Thanks for working with me. Quick question. And work with Dennis, yes. Quick question. I'm thinking of opening up the written assignment tonight. Do you want me to do that? Because I don't want you to give short shrift to the discussion, but it gives you a little bit. I won't be able to do it immediately, but, well, maybe I will do it pretty fast, but it might take me an hour to get it done, but I will, okay. I really don't want you to skip the discussion, though, but we will do that.